This is Gaming is in Session. That is right, baby. Gaming is always in session. And this week we got Black Myth Wukong. And of course, I can't do this alone. One judge isn't enough. You always have to have two. Judge Judy has the bailiff. The black judge has the bailiff. The other woman, she has the bailiff. My bailiff, my man Alex. Welcome to the show. Are you ready to talk about some Chinese monkeys?
Yeah, I get. I'm the bailiff. Adam, I just want you to make sure. You know, the bailiff is not also a judge, right?
Yeah, he's the one, but he's the one who does all the dirty work, right? Like if someone
Okay,
starts
okay,
lipping off, like you're the muscle, right? I mean, you could
okay.
argue the bailiff is more important. Who's the judge? A frail old lady with bad opinions? You make the show, my friend.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Yeah, Adam. So I just want to say I'm sorry if I'm out of sorts this episode because I'm in a new office. Still got the pregnant background, so don't worry, guys. You're seeing the same things, but I'm getting adjusted to this new setup. And also, Adam, I'm deeply impressed that you said the name of the game properly from the get-go. I was really hoping you
I
were coming in with a
practiced, and if you noticed when I enunciated, I slowed down. So yeah, I'm impressed with myself as well. I'll be impressed if you get this question right off the bat. It's quiz time, Alex. Are you ready? What is the difference between Wuhan and Las Vegas?
some kind of COVID joke or something like one is in China and one is in America.
What
Oh, what
happens in Vegas
happens in
stays in
Vegas?
Vegas.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. There you go.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. And so we are obviously talking about Black. I want to say blacksmith, but it's Black Myth
Just
Wukong.
Adam, just roll with it. We said the name at the top. It's
You're
Black
right,
Myth Wukong.
blacksmith. Go.
Forevermore, it will be called Blacksmith
Oh
Wukong, just
my,
so Adam can talk cleanly.
f me. The joke didn't make sense. I was thinking Wuhan and Wukong were the same. No, that's the whole.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
No, Wukong. What is the frick? No, the joke didn't even make sense.
You thought that Blacksmith Wuhan?
Bob's. I'm sorry, Wuhan. I didn't mean to do you dirty, but I did. Oh my Wukong. It just clicked. I did so much research for this episode on what joke. Okay, well, I have a new one. What plant? What plant do you not want to see in the forest?
Um, oh, man, a Wukong plant. I don't know, Adam. I'm
Bamboo.
just
Get it?
oh
Bamboo.
bamboo,
Yeah.
bamboo.
Obviously, it was my second choice for a reason. It's not funny. Tell your
I
kids. Maybe they'll find it funny.
I think the best joke is the fact that you thought Wuhan and Wukong were the same word. You just thought it was the same word.
They look so similar. You
It's
say you have no rebuttal
the
because it's true. I mean, it's an
No, I'm
innocent.
trying to think of a good example for you. It's like if I thought the word atom and adamantium were the same word. Like
No, they
they have
both have
different.
Wook. They start with Wook, and
No,
they're
they
both
no
the
Wu
same.
no no
The,
no no
the
no no
same length
no no
almost.
no 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 no. Wukong has four letters, and Wuhan has three letters, and they both start with Wu. They don't both start with Wook. Adam, you're just digging yourself deeper. This is great. Okay.
Yeah, but
Anyways,
they both have WU something, and then there's a freaking vowel, and then an N. It's very easily done. We need to move on, Alex. This gamer juice. I know I did research. I know the Philippines is not in China. I know that. But have you ever heard of magic water?
no, this is exciting.
That's right. It is a Philippine drink, and it's supposed to be the most crisp water anyone has ever drank. So essentially, what you do is you boil down some normal unflavored gelatin. You make those into little like cubes, almost like kind of what they put in boba a little bit. Then
Yeah.
you have some freezing cold water. You drop a couple drops of banana essence in it, a little bit of sugar. Then you drop the gelatin in here. And supposedly, this is the most crisp drink and water you will ever have. They sell it in the streets of Philippi or Philippines or wherever the freaking
Of the
what's the island called?
Philippines. Yeah, yeah, Philippines. Have you had it yet? Is this your first sip?
It's not bad, but it definitely I wouldn't say it's the most crisp water I've ever had. It's cold. I so they said 3 to 5 drops of banana essence. I put two in because I was like, banana is pretty strong. I like banana,
It's
but
not
it's
enough
pretty
banana.
strong.
That's
And
not enough banana
still,
essence.
with two, I it kind of just tastes like banana water.
Banana-y.
And I mean, I followed the recipe to a T. It's not bad, but Philippi, Philippines. So the island is called Philippines.
The country, the Philippines.
The country is the island.
I mean, it's a series of islands, I believe.
Okay,
I
so
don't even. I think it's mostly like a peninsula, but
you're
yeah.
liars. I'm sorry. That's bullcrap. That's like saying Oklahoma, oh, we got the best barbecue. Bullcrap. Sorry, Alex. Move on. What are you drinking tonight?
This is called Karma Energy Water, and I didn't know
I've had
until my
that.
wife pointed out. This is energy water, melon, dragon fruit. Did you have this as a gamer juice?
I mean, it's been a long time, but I did, yeah.
Okay. Well, I didn't know that there's like stuff in the cap here, and so it said you have to find your good inside, and you need to peel the sticker, push the cap, and then shake well. So
Yeah.
I didn't know there was all this about it. So I'm
Yeah.
sorry. This is mango dragon
Put
fruit.
together, get your chi together and focus your inner Wukong and do it.
It's
Wow.
okay. So I pressed it in, and then just a clump of stuff fell in, but there's like a lot more on the. There we go. It's all falling
Yeah,
in.
there, yeah.
That looks pretty gross. That looks kind of. Wait. So, but if I shake it, okay. So it's still sealed, so I
Yeah,
can
yeah,
shake
it's
it just
still, yeah.
fine.
Shake, shake,
Is
shake,
is there
shake.
caffeine in it? Is that why it's energy water, or is this like some of 150 milligrams of caffeine? Okay. Well,
I didn't get the energy one. There's one that's not energy too, but it was good from what I remember. Like it's still got that little funky taste because mine was probiotic stuff, and that stuff always tastes kind of funky. So I don't know how yours will probably taste about the
had
same.
my had my wife not told me, I would have just taken the cap off and just drank it like water and been like, it tastes like water.
And then you'd have eaten a
Let's
bean
see.
because you didn't finish your gamer juice. You had to suck up the powder all by
Oh
itself.
yeah. This has something called adaptogens in it, which I don't know what that means. It sounds like a scam.
Oh yeah, it's definitely
Hmm.
the freaking scam. Speaking of
It
scam,
doesn't. It's not that good. I mean, it's not bad, but it's not.
yeah,
The,
that's how all these probiotics and that's all these drinks. That's all of them. Yeah, they.
I was hoping it'd be good because it was like pretty cheap at Target, and I was like, ooh, if this is like 150 milligrams, that's more than like a Red Bull. Like I could be getting these, but it tastes like fruit butthole. Maybe if I don't get the melon dragon fruit.
Oh well, you like butthole. So the speaking of scam, and then we got to move on. I got a red light. I have a low infrared sauna, and I got a red light for it. I bet it doesn't do anything. It's supposed to make you have more testosterone and it's supposed to, I don't know, make you more of a man or something. I think it's bullcrap. So we both got hoaxed. Me with the red light, you with the probiotic energy water.
Yeah,
Welcome to the family.
mine's a little bit less expensive than getting installing a sauna and putting. I guess you just got a red light bulb. Is that
Yeah,
all?
yeah, yeah. So it's, I mean, I
Okay,
spent
that's not too bad.
$12. Yeah, yeah.
Do you feel more testosterone coursing through your veins?
No, I just
How much
feel like
testosterone do you have, Adam?
it's a lot, too much. They told
Should
me to take some
we
estrogen. They're like, dude,
should
you have Wukong energy. That's what they said.
should we play a game that's about being manly and part of the game is that you and I both get our testosterone levels checked?
Oh wow, that would be. How do you even do that? Do you have to
You
masturbate
they
into a cup?
I mean you can if you want. I don't think it's required for the test. I think they just do blood work at them.
Oh, I'm not getting. No, I'm not. They're not touching me with a needle. F off, dude.
You're more comfortable.
Blacksmith Wukong. Here's the details. Game Science are the developers. I've never even heard of these people. The games they've made: 100 Heroes, Art of War, Red Tides, and Blacksmith Wukong. Have you heard of either of those other games?
No, not at all. Although I remember this game being announced. I don't think it was part of like the China. Do you remember like a while back there was the China Hero Project where like Sony worked with China to make like a bunch of games, and none of them were really like great. I think a couple of them were PSVR games, but like this to me, for some reason, I had it in my head that like this was China was like finally ready to start making games to get people serious about them in the gaming industry. Because before this, it was like all they made were like mobile games. It never made it out of China. And now suddenly, like they're like, we're gonna make a game that's like at the top of the list. It's like the best game we can make. And this is what came out. And so yeah, I
Hmm.
I have not heard of 100 Heroes. I have not heard of Art of War Red Tides. Adam, do you want to go ahead and say the names in Chinese?
Yes. Bar Zhangxing, Zhangxing Yishu Qichao,
You
Xishanhua Wukong.
you don't have to do the accent.
That's not an accent. That's how it's pronounced. Here's the thing. You're correct, Alex. They did put their all in it, and they succeeded pretty well. Blacksmith Wukong in all 2024, it's when the game came out. They won the IGN People's Choice Tournament. They've won the Best Action Game at the Game Awards, the Steam Awards Game of the Year, and the Golden Joystick Game of the Year. So their best foot forward must, according to the people, according to the critics, must be a pretty big foot, if you know what I mean. Is this why you wanted to play the game? You chose this game. Give us a very quick history why you chose this game.
Yeah, so I do want to say there's a bit of an asterisk that we got to put next to some of these awards. I think the People's Choice Award from IGN, the Steam Awards, and the Golden Joystick Award, I think all three of those are like voted on by the public. So like you go to the website and pick your favorite one,
Uh-huh.
and it's all the people in China versus all the people anywhere else. And so there's like a heavy skew, right? There's like a bit of like a Chinese pride.
Wait,
And
that
so
should be a quiz question. Is that really enough to skew at all? China versus the rest of the world. Now, I know the assumption would have to be that no one else voted for this game, which isn't true. But are there that many people in China?
no, I think the thing is that like all of I don't want to say all. That's going to sound like I'm being stereotypical or something. A large contingency of Chinese video game players are going to vote for that game. Like you can probably guarantee 90%
Sure.
of
Yeah.
people in China are going to vote for that game, and then people in America are going to vote for it, and then probably some people in Europe are going to vote for it too. And no other game that's nominated is going to be getting that guaranteed install base of voters, right? Like all the other games are going to come out from Japan, right? So there's the Japanese population is going to be split. The American population is going to be split. But as far as the people in China voting, they're all going to vote for Black Myth Wukong, Blacksmith Wukong.
Yes, all right.
And so it makes these things a bit gameable. That is not well. I don't want to say that's not the reason I picked this game. It's not entirely the reason I picked this game. It did win Best Action Game at the Game Awards, and I remember seeing this game when it came out. It's the first Unreal 5 engine, one of the first like really good Unreal 5 engine based games that came out for PS5. And I remember hearing that it's just like stunning and it's beautiful. And I heard that it was like a really good game. I never heard that it was Game of the Year worthy, but I heard it was a really good game. Kind of like Demon Souls, Dark Souls. I like that. But the thing that sealed the deal that made me really want to play it was the developers at the Game Awards had this like real sense of pride in the game that they made. And also the lead developer, part of his speech was, "My game is not too hard," which I thought was just kind of funny that was like that's what he dedicated his time to say. But the real thing was that like it seemed the way when they talked about the game, it seemed like they were really trying to put like some Chinese culture forward. Whereas most of the games I play, they're steeped in American culture or European culture or Japanese culture. And I've never seen a really good representation of like Chinese culture in games. And it seemed like this was like the best chance to play a really good game that is unabashedly like Chinese. And I wanted to have that experience and see what it was like. So a little bit, highfalutin high brother. That's why I wanted to play this game. And then I talked to like that guy's Will and Shafe, and they were both like, "Oh, it's great." And then you failed like three quizzes based on like Asian geography, and I was like, "Well, if I can make him, dive deeper into this, we'll do that." So that's why I wanted to play this game.
So essentially, for those listening, what to help translate that for you, he thinks I would hate this game. and so he chose it. That's what I'm gathering here. But let's get into it, Alex. Let's just start with the gameplay. I feel like that is the biggest aspect, the focus on the game. That's where it shines the most, right? So if you haven't played the game, I would consider it a hack and slash game. I wouldn't consider it button mashing because there is strategy and timing and focus involved, but it is a lot of, hitting X and hit O to dodge and things of that nature. So that's why I kind of say hack and slash. But it really details the timing and you have to avoid the damage. To my chagrin, there was no block, which on games that are hack and slash, whether it may be Kingdom Hearts or whether it may be a Final Fantasy or whether it may be any of these other, numerous games we played, I play pretty defensive. I rarely play offensive. That's just not my strategy. I'd rather play defensive and avoid attacks or block to open up an opening to attack. And I'm surprised how much that affected me, especially in the beginning. You didn't seem to mind that there was no block.
Yeah, it's so think there's like a spectrum because I mean this is kind of in this weird space where like I said it was inspired by Dark Souls and I can see some of that there. Like, but for these kind of action games, right? It's like a spectrum of like there's like the hardcore Dark Souls like deliberate slow paced combat, and then on the other end of the spectrum there's like an action RPG like Zelda or Kingdom Hearts or something like that, and then probably somewhere in the middle something like Devil May Cry or Ninja Gaiden where it's like a lot of action happening. And I think this is somewhere in between like the Devil May Cry and the Dark Souls type stuff. And I've played games before that were like that. So particularly, I think Bloodborne is a game. Dark Souls, a lot of people play through it just blocking like crazy. I do that too. But when Bloodborne came out, you couldn't they almost punished you for trying to block. They even had a weapon that was kind of a gag weapon. It's like, oh, a shield, and then you block with it and it breaks. And so like you're not supposed to block. And so that's them trying to make you like, listen, you got to be aggressive in this game. You got to fight in this game. You can't be waiting around. And so I was kind of used to that. Although I also admit like I was a bit like, oh, am I like, can I, how do I block? Maybe, okay, I'll figure out how to block later. And I just kind of never needed it. And then I thought for a little bit, like maybe blocking happens automatically, like if you're not attacking, because in the very first fight you have at the very beginning up in the clouds, I was like hitting the dude and it didn't seem like it was hitting him. Like there was collision happening, but it didn't seem like my hits were registering. And I was like, oh, maybe that's like a thing in this game. Like you just are automatically blocking and it negates some damage or something until you like get hit while hitting or something like that. But that's not the case. You're right. There's absolutely no blocking in this game from what I can tell. It's dodging and making room and attacking at the right time. And I could totally see why that would be annoying to somebody, but it wasn't. I mean, it made sense to me after about the first, couple of hours.
Yeah, I some of the other things I'll go through some of the gameplay elements, and then you tell me which one you found the most enjoyable. So
Yeah.
there's the hack and slash, but there's also many games do this where there's various stances that you take a stance. It's a strategy. They each have their advantages and disadvantages. A couple of them take a little longer, but are more powerful. They have abilities based on that stance, and you open those through skill points as you open up. But again, it really adds variety in the gameplay and your strategy. You can also summon creatures that provide special abilities once you beat them. Some of them are damage dealers, some of them are a more strategy kind of based to turn the tide in the battle. And there's chi that once you attack, once it gets high enough, you use those things. Then there's actual abilities that you learn, like immobilization of enemies, or go like this little ghost step, or even you could turn into like this fire monkey guy, which a way just to choose your strategy, the abilities at the right time to take down your foes. Then we've got, I mean, in my opinion, nothing it does is necessarily unique. Like, there's nothing that I was like, oh, I've never seen that before, but it did everything really well, in my opinion. So, those things, is there one that stood out that you're like, this made me love the combat?
This is going to sound like a total cop out, but there wasn't anything that made me love the combat except for the fact that this was one of the first times in a game like this where I really found myself using like the full arsenal the full variety. So like you said, you have your staff. That's how you attack. You have your staff. You also have spells like the immobilize. I think you mentioned. You have transformations where, like you said, you turn into the fire monkey guy. Then you have like spirits that you can transform into that are like, you know, very short-lived transformations that do something. And then you get like a shroud or something that will give you like boosts, bonuses, and buffs and stuff like that too. Um, and so a lot like I find myself using all of those things. And a lot of times when I play games like Dark Souls and stuff like that, there's so much extra crap around, and I it's always like a consumable item, and so I don't want to use it. Like you have like 3 bombs, and you could buy more, but you have 3 bombs. You could throw the bombs. Like I don't want to use it. I want to save it for when I need it, and then I never need it because I'm always trying to not use it. But in this game, everything kind of regenerates, and so I never really, I always felt compelled to use it. I will say the one mechanic I didn't like at first, and then I kind of grew to love was the focus mechanic. So when you're attacking an enemy with just a basic combo, you're building up this focus meter. It's just kind of like an energy bar that builds up, and then when it builds up enough, you get like a focus point, and that focus point is how you can do like a special move as part of your combo. So depending on your stance, it'll like interject like a heavy hit within your light attack combo that's going on, or it'll do some special move. And then the gameplay is really about like attacking so you can build that up. And you're not really dealing much damage with the light hits, but when you do those heavy hits, the focus points, it deals the real damage. And so it's kind of navigating and like, in a sense, it's almost like boxing, right? Like you're jabbing, you're not doing damage with your jab. You jab and jab until you get in the right position, then you drop like the heavy punch. And this felt a lot like that. And maybe that's why I liked it because I kind of resonated with me in that sense. But that was kind of the unique thing to it. I didn't see that much in many other games. Another Armored Core kind of does this in the opposite way, but I like that component of the game.
Yeah, the one thing, I definitely agree with you. We're going to talk about the difficulty in a minute. I mean, I didn't know that the developer said it's not too hard. I disagree. I think it's an extremely difficult game. At least for me, it forced me to use all of those things because that's the only way I could win. So that's unique, and that's not a bad thing. Like that, I agree with you. You have to use everything in your arsenal, or you're just not going to win. I mean, maybe if you're picture perfect on all of your dodges and stuff, maybe, but for the average player, you have to use these things. The one thing I didn't love is they really didn't explain the mechanics very well, which I know in some ways people like that a game doesn't always have to hold your hand and explain every little detail, right? But there are multiple things that I learned by either talking to you or something didn't work and I had to like read online or I just found out by dumb luck, but it would have been really nice had they just told you that. And they were fairly trivial and important things, I suppose. Like it would have been trivial to tell us what you just mentioned to all of us about the focus point. That's how you give your big attack. I don't maybe I missed it or forgot it. I don't remember them telling us that. Like I knew I got the focus point, but I didn't really know until hours and hours into the game what the focus point was doing. So, and again, there were multiple of those instances. I feel like they could have explained a little better. I don't know. Did you feel like it was pretty intuitive? I mean, I guess if you played more games like this, maybe it wasn't as hard for you.
No, I don't think you're wrong. I mean, the mechanics are a little bit like obtuse, and they don't they don't explain clearly what's going on. Although playing the game enough, like it starts to make sense. So like by the time I'm in chapter 2, like I get it. I know what's happening now. But you're right. Everything that you learn, like it will stop and tell you blah. But there's verbiage that you don't know, right? It says use your focus points. Like I don't know what a focus point is. I don't know how to use it. And there's stuff that's like use a focus point, you get a little bit of health back. It's like, is focus point like my health potion? Like what's going on here?
Yeah.
Um, and so yeah, I agree. Like I think even to this point, there are things that if you named it, I wouldn't know what you're talking about. But if you told me what button to press, I would know what you're talking about. Case in point, I just realized that you know your health potion, it's the gourd, right?
Yep.
Um, so you have the health potion, you have the gourd, but you also have the drink that goes in the gourd,
Yep.
and then you also have like things that you can put in the drink to have extra effects. and I was like upgrading one of them and not upgrading the other, and I didn't know. I didn't know until like halfway through the end of chapter two, halfway through chapter two, that like, oh, there's like other things I need to be upgrading here. Um, and but yeah, I think a lot of this is like the name choices, the way they named things is really confusing. Another good example is like self-advance, right? Like it's not called leveling up, it's called self-advance, which is like, okay, you're not like leveling up, but it's like it is skill points. Just call it a skill points. What is this self-advance nonsense? It made it hard to understand. And yeah, so the mechanics were intuitive in the sense that like you kind of just pick it up playing the game, but the game talking to you about it makes no sense. Like you don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. I had the same exact thing. I mean, there was one thing I even asked you. There are abilities, and they talked about Bane, and I was like, "What the f is that?" It's just like a buff. It's like poison, stun. So
Yeah.
why wouldn't they? Why are they calling it Bane? What is that? Like, yeah, I totally agree. I'm ready to move on and talk about the difficulty. Can we talk about the difficulty, Alex?
I think one thing we should probably talk about in the gameplay is this game. I thought this game was going to be like Dark Souls. Something like Dark Souls, you go through the levels and you fight all the enemies and the minions and stuff. There's a lot of exploration. And there's some light puzzle stuff and things like that. And then you fight a boss. This game is like the inverse of that. It's like you fight a couple enemies, you fight a boss. You fight a couple enemies, you fight a boss. It's almost like a boss rush mode with like very small sections where you're just kind of testing things out until you fight the next boss. And I think that's an important thing to know about this game is that if you don't like boss fights, this game is going to bother you because I didn't want to tell you while you were playing it, Adam. This game has like I think 104 bosses or something like that, which
You
is
did
it's a
exactly
huge.
like what I said in the top. You knew I would hate it, so you wanted to
I
play
didn't
it.
know that.
I do despise bosses, and that actually I had it in the plot section, but let's talk about it right now.
Okay.
You're absolutely right. I despise bosses. Ever since I was a kid, I've always hated bosses. It didn't matter if it was the NES, if it was Kingdom Hearts, if it was Rez, if it was Near Automata. I hate bosses. Just despise them. And to figure out that this game is nothing but boss after boss after boss. And I do understand, Alex, that every game in its most simple form is you fight a boss, you go from point A to point B, and at the end of point B, there's another boss. And you keep doing that till the end. But most of the time, with many other games, there's more stuff from point A to point B. So, although technically it still is just a linear progression to get to the next boss, it feels different. This is literally just like you said. You fight a boss, you play for 3 to 5 minutes, and then you get another boss. I cannot even. I had a loss of words for how much I hate this. Did you? Do you like
Yeah.
this?
I you're not I do like it. But
I
I think
okay.
well, I mean, it surprised me. I didn't know it was like a boss rush game. And it's in the very first level, you walk into this field and it's like if you go left, you fight that fire monkey boss. If you go right, you fight that big-headed monk boss. And both of them are like pretty hard bosses from the get-go until you like figure out what's going on. And I skipped them both because there was like a third way to go. And then I ran into another boss. I was like, well, crap, I can't beat this guy. I should go back and try to fight the other ones. And so it like that's within the first hour of the game, you've seen like three bosses. That was pretty nuts. Um, but now that I know like this is a game where you're just kind of preparing yourself from boss fight to boss fight, and I really enjoy the combat and I like the boss fights, and there's like decent variety. I just fought the first boss that I think was kind of cheesy and stupid, and I hated him. But other than that, I've had fun fighting the bosses. The thing I like about the bosses is instead like something like Dark Souls and Demon Souls, you have to have like perfect pinpoint perfect timing to do like parries. And this game doesn't rely on like a parry mechanic, but it does rely on dodging. But the dodging is pretty the window for dodging is like not too bad. And so like the enemy move sets are like pretty easy to like understand and figure out.
Crap. Oh crap. Sorry.
The enemy movesets are like you can figure out what's going on, so they're not trying to trick you too much. And so I like the boss fights here. But anyways, Adam, we can get into the difficulty because we're kind of leading that way,
No,
anyways.
no, just cover the plot. F it. I hate this. I guess or this discussion straddles both of them. You said that there is a crouching tiger, a tiger vanguard. That's one of the final bosses, maybe, or it was one of the bosses in chapter two, I guess. I don't remember. You told me you had to fight him for 2 or 3 hours. I cannot fathom in my mind how you find that enjoyable. I fight a boss twice, and if I lose, I quit the game, or in this case, because you forced me to keep playing it, I choose to go level up. I would rather mindlessly grind than fight the same boss over and over and over. I just, can you help me understand? Because I'm not saying you're wrong, right? It's a personal preference, but I would like to know what about that do you like?
I think this is a fundamental difference between what you and I enjoy in games. Like the last thing I want to do in any video game is to grind for the sake of grinding. To me, it's a failure of game design if I have to mindlessly repeat the same steps over and over again just so I can make a number go up. And like, I mean, Pokemon's perfect example of that, right? Like the lion's share of gameplay in Pokemon is walking around doing random encounters to level up your Pokemon so they can be ready for the next actual fight
Well,
that
I
you
mean,
have.
there were the trainer battles. You just didn't quite get there to
I mean,
learn the mechanic. But I mean,
I mean, it's like there's people that love it. I don't think it's. I think it's a failure of game design of what I like in a game. But there's people that love this stuff, right? Like you like grinding. There's games you play and you like grinding. I think, and I've done it in games too. But to me, like I really despise when it's like oh, the only viable way path is to turn around and just go like do this mindless crap for like 2 more hours. It seems like a false extension of the game's length rather
but
than like
see,
actual
that's
interesting stuff.
what in this game I had to do because I did try to fight the bosses. I couldn't beat them. You know what level I beat the Tiger Vanguard on?
What?
45. I'm on level 45. You know how many hours? Really, I bet 60 to 70% of the 10 hours I played was grinding in the bamboo section right before, I forgot. There's one of the bosses. I don't know. But
That snake boss in the water, yeah.
it was just, and I mean, I actually enjoyed the time in the game more. I don't know why you like losing. And then I do disagree that you think the time is pretty long that you can dodge. I wholeheartedly disagree with that. Not all the bosses. Some of the bosses, yeah, you don't have to be perfect. But then there are definitely some like that tiger. That's bullcrap. I mean, he just attacks like 8 times in a row, and you have to dodge every single one of them. Oh, and mind you, if you get hit, a third of your energy at best case is gone. Like that just I don't understand how someone could like that.
I mean, I was able to get hit by him like 2 or 3 times. I was like level
Exactly, three
20
times. You get
something.
hit 3 times and you're gone.
Well, no, but if you get hit once, then heal yourself because you have like 5 uses of the gourd at that point. But it's I think what I like, the reason I kept going back to him was because I always saw like a path through to success. And every time I lost, it was like really my fault. I was never really surprised. I think like the snake boss that you fight in chapter one, who has the second form, I hate that crap. I hate when you fight a boss and you think you've beat like you pull out all the stops and try to beat him, and then it's like suddenly there's a second form with a full health bar. And it's like, well, that's bullcrap. I hate that. This game just did it then. I hope they don't do it again. But like the Tiger boss, like there was no second form. What you see is what you get. And once you figure it out, it's like now it's up to you. It's almost like Mega Man, right? Like Mega Man games, like they only have so many moves. It's up to you to figure out how to solve that little puzzle in the combat. And I enjoyed that. So when I lost, I never felt like I lost because the game was being cheap. I felt like I lost because I lost focus. And I if I just did it again, if I just tried one more time, I'd be able to accomplish it. And that's how I lose like 2 hours fighting the same boss.
I mean, so I will agree. I do not believe that there are cheap deaths. Completely agree with that. It's all skill, but it's too difficult. That I will argue. And why there isn't a difficulty setting, like why? Like I can't like what would it have hurt to have an easy difficulty? More people so people would actually like your game. Like I know you like it, and there's a big subset of people who do like it, but there's people like me that just hate the game because it's miserable to play. But if there were an easy difficulty, I would happily have finished this game. But I mean, I'm
Yeah.
going to be honest with you, Alex. It's not so much that like, oh, I don't want to finish the game. I truly don't think I can. Like I don't have the ability. And yeah, I can grind to level 45 and beat Tiger Vanguard finally. At some point that strategy isn't going to work. I'm running out of things to upgrade that actually matter that's giving me the boost. So then what?
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
not gonna
this
be able to
is
beat it. So like I don't understand why every game has a difficulty. Like why? Why not have two difficulties? Why? I don't get or have it what's that thing they call it adaptive, right? To where
yeah.
like if you start losing, it starts to get a little easier. Have that. Like it's just in my opinion, a slap in the face, a waste of time, and in my opinion, I'm sure you were not going to agree with this either. When I did fight that tiger dude forever. I mean, all the bosses I had to fight multiple times before I killed them. Not once did I feel gratified that I got them. Never did I feel an accomplishment. One, because I was so frustrated, but then I knew there was another boss 5 minutes ahead that's going to kick my butt again. Like it just, I don't know. I don't get it.
I mean, this is I actually agree with you, Adam. I mean, it's a debate in the industry about, how should all games have difficulty modes. I fall on the line that like, yeah, they should because to me it's really sad if a game is great but people can't play it just because they don't have the ability. And like um a good example is like Sekiro. That was a game that really flared up this debate. Sekiro is a really awesome game, and I love it. But I love it, and I wanted to spend tons of time playing it. I had to stop playing it because I got to a boss that I couldn't beat, and it was like halfway through, and I loved it. And it's really disappointing. And I do think, there should be like a story mode that, your health regenerates over time automatically, or you have unlimited like heals, or like something like that, right? There could have been simple things. I think the argument is like, it's really hard to balance and design a game when you have these multiple difficulty levels without making it like um without making it unbalanced or useless. But I don't disagree. But Adam, we should probably close out and go get ready for segment two. We could touch on difficulty a bit more.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about the plot difficulty. I've got complaints. You've
Okay.
got things you love. So we'll get back. Stick with us, folks.
Welcome to segment two of Black Smith Wukong. Yes, Adam, I just want to you're playing on the PlayStation 5, I'm playing on the PlayStation 5. Have you had any fun stuff with the DualSense? I don't recall there being anything fun with the DualSense going on in the game. Do you know?
No, that's one thing that's kind of missing, which is a little surprising. I mean, it works well. I still like the
Yeah.
controller, but yeah, they don't. I don't think they do anything with the adaptive triggers. I don't feel anything cool in terms of the way it rumbles or the sensations. I don't know why
Yeah.
they didn't do that.
I just realized that. Yeah. Oh well. Anyways, Adam, do you have more you want to say about the difficulty? I mean, yeah, the game's difficult. Obviously the game's difficult because the, designer said in his accepting the award, my game is not too difficult.
That's
But
when you know it's difficult. If that in your moment of triumph and you have what? at most 2 minutes to say something,
Yeah.
and you say that is something you bring up by you choose. No one asked them. Yeah, that's wild. Let's see. So obviously, I think it's extremely difficult. The one thing, this game is difficult for me because although I think it's too difficult and I don't like personally like it, I can appreciate it. I appreciate the way they organize the game. I see why you would like it. So, in terms of the difficulty, even, they do allow you to grind levels. And one thing I appreciate is, unlike some of the old Final Fantasies, it's easy to get the experience and level up pretty quickly. To be at level 45, 10 hours into the game, is pretty good. Like, it's not like I have to grind for 45 minutes to raise one level. It's like, okay, 10, 15 minutes a level at most. And that I very much appreciate. I like the fact that there are a lot of ways to adapt to try different strategies. You can change the stance. You can move all of your skill points without any harm or penalty, however often you want. So you can load up. I did it. I loaded up on abilities, and then I went and I focused on maybe some of the special, like immobilization. Then I kept losing. Then I was like, let me put them all on health and max mana and then stamina. So there's a lot of options there. The different transformations, the different skills, the different types of weapons that you can actually create and equip. Like, there's a lot of different ways to overcome the difficulty, which I very much appreciate. I do. But it's still like, it's not enough for how difficult it is. But I wanted to say that because I do think they deserve some credit. It's not unfairly difficult. It just, for me, and I think a lot of others, it's just still too difficult, right? Like, so
It's it's funny to me because the game, I'm not trying to be like tough. The game doesn't feel that difficult to me. Not like because I think I'm good. I think there's just it's like either an expectation thing or like mechanics not being well understood. Because like I recognize I do not have the skill set to finish Sekiro without just getting lucky when I play the game. Same with like a lot of these Souls games that I like. But it reading through people talking about this game, there are people that just don't really have a problem with the game, like at all, but they have problems with games that I think are easy. And then vice versa. There's people that have, they got through games that I find impossible, very easily. There's people that I beat all the Souls games and I beat Sekiro and I beat all the most difficult stuff, but I can't get past this boss in Wukong, somebody that I killed in one try. So there's something about the game that some people just have difficulty with it and some people don't. And I don't know what it is, but yeah, it really does seem like you either got it or you don't type situation, and it's unfortunate. Like to your point, I think difficulty levels would have made that a bit better for people, and it's because there's a lot to enjoy in this game, but yeah, it is hard, especially when like you said, the developer has to say it's not hard. That means it's hard. At least in this one, you could just kind of grind your way through, which I think is probably what a lot of people do in a lot of these games. But everything seems really reasonable and just kind of makes sense to me. Uh, I don't know. I'm having fun with it. Granted, maybe my tune will change if I keep playing this game. I'll get to a point where I think, nope, that's too much. But I haven't hit that point yet.
yeah, I think some of it definitely is personal. I think there's also something to be said. Like, there's an inner chi, if you will, on your motivation and your, I don't know what the right word is, but for me, I lack the motivation. So, as I mentioned, when I do eventually beat a boss, I feel no gratification whatsoever. I don't. I'm just like, oh wow, cool. There's 40 minutes of my life gone, and I lost lost to him 25 times. That was miserable. Thank God I'm done. But again, I know in 5 minutes I'm going to have another one I can't beat. So there's that. Then we're about ready to hop into the plot, and I do want to lay some background. But in my opinion, this isn't a plot heavy game yet. Like, there are some elements, but I don't care about the character. I know there's not going to be plot after this that I care about. So why? Like I'm not motivated to fight. Whereas if I hit Final Fantasy, for example, like I hit bosses that I can't defeat, but I want to know what's next in the story, or I know once I get over the hump, I'm going to get a piece of equipment or something that's going to overpower me for just a little bit so I can take a breather and enjoy the rest of the game. That doesn't happen here. So, where you still feel like you're having fun and you feel motivated, so that you have a reason to fight and really get that boss and nail it down. Maybe it's just that I don't feel that. So, I don't care. That's why I would rather grind 20 more levels than play a boss for 2 or 3 hours because I don't care. Like, so maybe that's it. I don't know.
Is it because all their names confuse you?
Their
All the
names
character
do
names?
their names do confuse me. I also feel like a lot. It's weird to say all of the bosses are different, right? It's
Yeah.
not like they're all wolves or they're all like one specific type of animal. That's not the case. But they all like look the same somehow. Like if and maybe it's also because the number of them, but if you were to tell me what are the bosses, I remember like a few of them. And because they look unique. The rest of them I'm just like they look like something Chinese, and they start with a name that starts with a G, and I can't pronounce it. Like I don't know, but let's hop into the plot, or you have
Okay.
your little quiz. Do you want to do the plot or the quiz first?
Let's do the quiz. Just because, yeah, let's spice things up a little bit, Adam. You
I
know the
have
rules of
a
the.
question for you. What do you call a Wukong, a monkey with a camera?
Oh no. Is this going to be really bad, Adam? Is this going to, are we allowed to say that? Okay, what do you call a monkey with a camera?
I don't think it's gonna be bad. Is it bad? I don't think. Phil Ming.
I like that. I don't think that's bad at
That's
all.
good.
Okay.
That's yeah. I'm saying I don't think it's. I mean, it's a play on words and maybe a Chinese name. I don't think it's offensive. Yeah, that's.
Well, no, I think it's offensive because you said a monkey with a camera.
Is that not better than what's a Chinese man with a camera? That's definitely better. Right?
Oh. Well, one, you're implying that all Chinese people are monkeys.
No, no, but that's not the joke. I felt uncomfortable saying, "What do you call a Chinese person with a camera?" That I feel like is offensive.
That
But
also feels offensive.
no, no, no. This I just. It's the only reason I said monkey is because it's the monkey in the game.
Okay, okay. You're talking about the monkey in the game.
Yeah, what? The
Okay.
whole game's about a monkey,
Yeah,
Wukong. Yeah.
okay, 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 okay. I get it. I get it.
No, you still think it's offensive. Whatever.
I
Screw
don't think
you.
it's offensive. I don't think I think it's a clever play on words. I think we have to be very, very clear that there's not a racial tilt to it. It's I don't know, man. There's no sad. Let's move on to the let's
It's
move
a
on to
it's a
the
play.
quiz.
It's a good joke. It's a play on words. It's not offensive. It's just, I celebrate women. I love monkeys and Chinese people too. We love everybody here. You're down 0-1. So let's go. You missed that question. What's the next one?
All right. Okay. First question, Adam. What is your character named or called in this game?
The,
They have.
the destined one.
Oh, how did you know that? I didn't know that till I looked
Well,
this up.
because I had to read the tutorials like a million times because I can't beat any of the bosses. It's impossible. Also, what an absolute garbage heap, trash piece of garbage of a name is that? This game sucks. You're the protagonist. You can't even give him a name. You call him the destined one. F you. What a joke.
I will say I was looking in one of the explanations for one of your special moves says like this only applies to the destined one. And I until just now I was like, wait, is that the guy I'm transforming to, or is that who I am normally?
Exactly.
Um,
I don't remember what skill it is, but I remember I had the same question.
it's one
I
of
was
your
like, what's that
transformation
mean?
things that you can put points into. Yeah, and it was like
Yeah.
I don't know what this means. Okay, which one of these you're gonna hate this one, Adam? Which one of these is not a boss that you fight in chapter one?
Dude, F you. Okay, go ahead. Let's see.
Guangxi, Ling Shuzi, Zhang Liao, Bali Gulang.
I hate you. Or all those Chinese words. That's the first thing.
They're all names. They're all names.
So remember, I said that all of them started with a G. So the first one definitely was a boss. Okay. um, the other ones, will you say them again?
Guangxi,
No, that don't say that one again. That's definitely a boss.
Ling Shuzi, Bali Gulang, and Zhang Liao.
I mean,
I
there's just
changed up
no
the
way.
order there. I changed up the order there.
I think it's 3 or 4.
Which one of these is not a boss that you fought?
And I don't even remember Bali. I feel like I kind of remember that one. What's the Li Zhao? Is that the other one?
Ling Shuzi,
Like,
Bali Gulang, and Zhang Liao.
will you tell me, are are those names in the game, or did you just make one of these up?
One of these is not in the game.
So you made it up.
No, I got it from another game.
Okay, it's the one that L. Lu Shaoxing.
Ling Shuzi is the snake boss that you fight.
Of course he is.
Yeah, the one that I made up is so Bali Gulang, I think might be a play on words. It's the big frog that you fight.
Oh, dang.
And
So,
Zhang Liao is one of the characters you can play as in Dynasty Warriors.
okay. At least I knew the one with G was the boss.
I don't know who Guangxi is. I think it's the fire guy.
I don't know who it is. They all start with G, almost.
All
Anyhow,
right.
okay. So 1-1. Okay.
The next one. So name 3 of the Yao Guai animals that you fight in chapter 1.
What? F off, dude.
Just
Okay.
3 of the animals. The Yao Guai. I'm just being
I
silly.
don't know what a Yao Guai is.
I think it's a Chinese word for like a demon.
That's stupid. They're animals. So you fight the frog, right?
So that's 1. Okay. There's 5 of them, I think.
So the one was the big head, but he's not an animal. He's a big-headed
No. He's a
stone
monk.
guy.
Yeah, he's a monk.
So
He doesn't count.
that's bull crap because that is one. F you. Um, who else? There was they all look the same, Alex. In the bamboo thicket, you go in there and it's a guy right before you ring the bell. It's a freaking animal with fur, and he does martial arts, and I think that one might have a sword. I don't know. I guess he's a wolf, so I'm going to say a wolf.
All right, Wolf is 1, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What's another one? What's another one? Gosh. The thing is, if I hadn't had to fight the tiger for, he's not. He's
Yeah.
not. He's a vanguard. He's not.
Tiger is in chapter 2. Tiger's in chapter 2. Yeah.
Oh, see,
You
that's
fight
even
3
a
of them.
bigger butthole move. Is you're making me remember number 1. So the nothing flew. They all freaking look the same, dog. So you fight the dude with the snakes, and then you go to the left and you fight someone. He was a golden-headed guy, I think. So that doesn't count. I'm like trying to go through. The level I played the most was the bamboo level, but that's where you fought the frog. All the other ones. Okay, well, I don't want to just sit here. This is horrible. We need to get through this. So they all look the same. So I said a wolf. I said a frog. This is stereotypical and probably racist. Tiger.
Not that you fight tigers in chapter 2. Adam, you said one of them, but you didn't name it. You fight a snake. You fight a bunch of snakes.
He's a Yao Guai?
They're all Yao Guai. You fight a bunch of snakes.
See, I don't know what a Yao Guai is. You should have said, I thought he was a boss.
But he's also a snake. I mean, he's a boss. He's a snake. But so you fight snakes. You fight frogs. You fight wolves. You fight rats. You even fight a crow at one point in the first chapter.
A crow?
Yeah, I know. I remember fighting a crow. And
The rat. So that's bullcrap. The snake, I thought he was a boss, and I didn't think bosses were Yao Guai.
So the bamboo thicket, they're all snakes that you're fighting in there. There's skeleton snakes, and then there's actual snakes. That's why they poison you when they hit you, because they're snakes. They're venomous. They raise up and they.
Effing bull crap.
All right. So you guaranteed a bean because you got two wrong.
Thought it was three. I ate a bean.
Oh wait, no, if you yeah, maybe. Yeah, okay, okay, you're right, you're
Yeah.
right, you're right. Um, name the three stances.
I just absolutely hate you. I really do. One is pillar stance.
Okay, did you ever use that much? That's the one where you stand on the pole and you raise up really high. I like that one. I don't
I
use it much, but I
tried.
like
It
it.
took a little too long, I feel like, to get a heavy attack out, so I didn't use
Yeah.
it for very long, but I tried. The other one is, I mean, I don't know what they're called because the game sucks so bad. The third one is like a thrust stance.
You got it. All right. Now you just got to do the main stance. What is it?
Standing. I don't know.
Smash stance. The one that I give your
That's
mom. The
what a
smash stance.
so
Yeah.
effing stupid. I hate this game. Okay, go ahead. One more. At least I'm not eating two beans or just the
Yeah.
one. This is
Adam.
essentially useless, right? But
Yeah. Adam, what is the name of the legendary story that this game is based upon?
oh, f off, Wukong.
No, I mean this is every. I even mentioned it. I almost mentioned it at the beginning. I mentioned it last week, your last episode. I'll give you one more shot. What is it called? You don't know at
It's
all?
called Wukong.
It's called
He's
Journey to the West. Journey
that
to the West.
I would have never gotten that in a million years. You're the thing, mother
Is that
dead
barf?
fish.
Oh,
Dead
okay.
fish.
That's not much better.
No, the thing is, we have Pokemon, and I ask you very like reasonable questions. You ask me these things that no one knows that. Freaking dead
No,
fish.
Journey to the West is maybe the most famous story. It's what Dragon Ball is based on. There's a game at PS3 called Enslave. There's a tons of games based off of it. Journey to the West is a pretty common thing, but
No, it's not. It's
the three
I
stances you should have got. The animals you fought you should have got. The boss names you should have got. Eat it,
well,
eat it, eat it. You got the destined one. I didn't think you'd get that. That was impressive. Blacksmith, Wukong,
oh
chop, chop, chop.
I took a barf. It was the wrong bean.
You grabbed a bar. That means you gotta
Oh,
eat the
that's
dead
the
fish.
wrong
No,
bean.
no, that's not fair.
That's the wrong bean.
You can't eat the wrong bean. You gotta get a dead fish now. You gotta eat the
No,
dead
no, dude, FBI, no. In the bar. That's it. You got your bean. Oh, that's horrible. Oh, it's horrible. I went. Oh,
Were it any other bean than a barf, I would not have let you.
oh, that's. And it was the shock of it. Oh, the shock of it. Like you think, like I knew it was gonna be bad, but I was, I
Were
was
it any other bean than a barf, I would not have let you slide. You would
okay.
have had
That
to
I
take a
think
second
that would
bean.
have been reasonable, but that is. Oh, like you know it's gonna be bad, right? But you think it's gonna be fish, and then I was like, that's. At first, I thought I got strawberry smoothie, and I was like, oh, that's not dead fish.
A
And
pepperoni pizza strawberry smoothie. Yeah.
then I bit into it hard, and yeah, okay, the plot. Oh gosh, this is
So
so.
I'll go into the plot and introduce it a little bit. So this game is based off Journey to the West, which I don't know if you watch Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball is loosely based on it. It's basically the story. The thing that confused me was actually this game isn't so much based as on Journey to the West as it is like a sequel to Journey to the West. Which I'll be honest, I don't know the ins and outs of Journey to the West. I know some basic plot lines to it, but it's not like you're going to play this game and know how Journey to the West goes. But the unfortunate thing is, the plot of the game makes way more sense if you do know how Journey to the West goes, which is kind of unfair. This game, that story is so widespread in Chinese culture that I think when they made the plot of this game, they expected people to have this inherent knowledge of Journey to the West, which in America, I have zero knowledge really of Journey to the West. But the Cliff's notes are that there's a legendary monkey named Sun Wukong who like ascended into like an almost godlike status, and he the gods the deities didn't like that, and so they wanted to bat him back down. And you start the game in like a fight on the clouds, fighting these gods, and you eventually get smacked down to earth and put into a stone. and 6 fragments of you spread out across the land, and the game begins officially with you as, for what I gather, you're kind of just a random monkey hanging around with a bow staff. Um, and it's on you to gather these pieces. And so that's basically what you're doing is you're kind of retracing the steps of Sun Wukong that he took when he achieved his deity status. You're seeing all his old haunts and all the people he met and stuff, and fighting the guys he fought with, and getting his essence back so that you can regain all this stuff. What bothers me, and I kind of alluded to it here, is this protagonist, right? Like, one, the bow staff you have is like a legendary bow staff in Journey to the West. It's famous because it can grow and shrink, and it can go like infinitely long and stuff like that. Um, why does this monkey have it? Why do you have it? Why do you have this legendary weapon that Sun Wukong has? Why are you supposed to be the one? They do nothing to explain like this is why you're the guy, and they don't even really say like you're the guy. They almost present it as like, oh, you think you're good enough to do it? Well, then go for it. But apparently, no, you're the destined one. And that was confusing me. I couldn't tell if I was just a random guy, shooting his shot. But because I had this bow staff, obviously everybody else seems to think I'm, the guy to do it. The whole start of the thing confused the hell out of me. And really, through the first chapter, I thought I was Sun Wukong, but apparently I'm not. Um, yeah. But did I miss anything in the story? Is there more stuff to it that you think needs to be covered?
I mean, I at least knew I wasn't Sun Wukong, but yeah, no, I think you nailed it. That's one thing why I think the plot is incredibly thin. And one thing I think to note is as you're going through the game, there aren't points that give you more plot. Like you meet one weird bald looking guy, and like every now and he says a little something that might give the most minuscule amount of background or setup for the next region, but it's never anything fulfilling. That's kind of it. Like the beginning of the game with the that kind of initial boss fight on the clouds, I didn't mind that. I thought that was pretty cool. I was like, okay, sweet. It was a good start. And then, of course, like, okay, sure, you got split into six, and then I agree. The one thing that intrigued me, which maybe after mentioning a little bit about the Great Wild West or whatever the F that stupid story's called, is when you as Sun Wukong, they turn into birds somehow, and they like fly to Earth. So then they're gonna like fight on Earth. But Sun Wukong is fighting the Celestial Court, somewhat representative. So I guess the way it's pictured is Sun Wukong's a good guy, right? Like
Yeah.
you're playing as he's a good guy, Celestial Court is bad, but when they turn into birds, Sun Wukong is the black bird, and Celestial Court is the white bird. And normally the colors have symbolism, right? So I immediately noticed that and I was like, well, that's weird. Why would the good guy be a black bird? And obviously, I'm assuming that black means bad. But I mean, that's all we have to grasp onto plot wise. So I think you nailed it. One reason why I just don't really care about these bosses in the game. Who is this monkey? Like, I know it's hard maybe to make a human relate to a monkey, but there are many games with many animals, and somehow they make that animal relatable to us so that we care for them. I don't care at all about this monkey. When he dies, could care less. I don't care. Look at all the other games in the whole freaking world, right? Look at Moss. I mean, we could go on, and all the games where you play as an animal, they die, and like you feel bad, or you don't want them to die. It's not the case here. So in the plot region, I think they, maybe on purpose, horrible job. Atrocious.
I This is one of the reasons I wanted to play the game, and like I just know, I spent time in Japan. I read like Japanese literature. And one of the things I took away from that experience was like different cultures value different things in storytelling. Like I read these books that were supposed to be like the pinnacle of Japanese writing, and the things they present, like I just thought were worthless, right? It was just like somebody just telling me stuff happened with no real like flourish or anything to it, no real prose to it. And I didn't enjoy it the way I enjoyed reading a good story, written natively in English and stuff like that. But I recognize that that's just a different value system in storytelling. And so I wanted to see what the Chinese storytelling system is. And I'm kind of getting pieces of it with this in that, like, I think for you and me, um, the plot of a game is like there needs to be this like strong narrative arc where like things are chained together and they're happening for a reason and like stuff is going on. Where this just seems to be like you're moving through this environment and there's just like pieces of things that are just almost like matter of factly stated. Where it's like at the end of chapter one, you get like this cutscene and it's like a baby saw a bear and the bear had gold in a bag. And then the baby turned into a monk and the monk got a blanket and the temple caught on fire. And it's like, there's probably a story there, but me picking up on story elements the way I do as a Westerner, I just don't quite get it. And I try to appreciate it as best I can, but I have to like go to YouTube and be like, what is this trying to tell me? And it's like, oh, the bear is a spirit that's inside the boy, and it carries the gold represents, the boy being imbued with greed, and the blankets are like a sign of greed for this guy. And like there's all sorts of stuff that happens in that cutscene that makes no sense if you don't have this bedrock foundation in like the Eastern culture. And so I think that's what makes it really difficult to enjoy the plot is because I'm not really steeped. I haven't grown up on stories like this. But I will say that there are stuff that at least I can pick up, like some of the guys you fight, you kind of get their backstory and you figure out what's going on with them. And it's just like a nice, well-contained story. Um, and I enjoy like the character story, the small, well-contained stuff, but the overarching plot, there's not a really strong narrative structure holding things together. And I think the pinnacle of this is like at the end of chapter one, you played into chapter two a little bit, right? Yeah, you fought the tiger
Yeah.
guy. The end of chapter one, it's like, and then the Destined One goes on. Chapter two starts with the headless guy playing the guitar, singing about how the Destined One is dead. He's dead with a bunch of arrows in his chest, but he comes back to life. And it's like, wow, a lot just got skipped over. Is this a flashback? What has happened there? And then I beat chapter two, and it doesn't really revisit that. It doesn't explain like how you died, how you came back, who brought you back. Like the game skips over the story arc. It just doesn't care how chapter one relates to chapter two. And it confuses the hell out of me as somebody, used to this normal strong narrative arc. But at some point, I feel like I just have to accept it and just try to take it as it is because this is the way they want to tell a story. It's not for me, but that being said, some of the writing seems kind of nice. It's poetic, of course. And you didn't finish chapter two. The cutscene in chapter two I thought was really good. It was really cool. It's not anime drawn. It's like claymation. Super cool. Super cool. But you'll probably never see it.
Yeah, probably not. I also will admit the music sucks in this game. I forgot to mention that. I don't think the music's good. I really hated the headless guy. I would rather listen to, I don't know, just about anything than that. So I think we've covered the plot. I think that's fair. You want to hear a few more of my qualms?
Yeah, give me your beef, Adam, and then I'll let you know if you're playing the game more or
So
not.
you already highlighted, and we've already talked about some of these. Number one, Chinese stuff. I don't know China. I don't really care about China. I don't want to understand China. I don't get the game. I don't get China. I don't want to get China. I don't want to get the game. I don't understand it. I don't want to have to go to YouTube to understand one of your useless cutscenes at the end of every single chapter. We already talked about the killer or the difficulty. Again, if there was an easy difficulty, I would maybe finish the game and say, you know what, sure, like it's not that bad. I appreciate the game, but I still hate the game. I think it's really interesting that I grinded to level 45 to beat a boss that you beat at level 28. I think that's just hilarious. And I think the nail in the coffin for me is simply put, the game isn't fun. It does a lot well, but just it's personal preference. For me, it's not fun. There isn't a single moment in this game where I was like, wow, that was fun. And that's actually impressive. It's hard to achieve that unless, and I'm not saying this is a horrible game, but unless you're a horrible game, normally there's something that you're like, okay, that was fun. I mean, for goodness sakes, even Silent Hill 2, I couldn't say that. There were moments in that game, although I despise that game, I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. Or it got my blood pumping, or I was like, okay, that was fun, right? I didn't have that. So we covered it all. Again, I think my synopsis of the game is I very much do appreciate it and the mechanics and the combat, but I still don't like it. I don't know. Talk what else about the game you would like before we decide if we're going to play it. I do want to pitch the next game because I get to pick it. Because one of the deciding factors, too, at least for me, Alex, maybe it's not fair to you, is I got to think, what other games do I want to play? And do I want to play this game more than those? It's not just do I want to finish it. Do I want to finish it more than those games? The backlog keeps building. This game I didn't even know about that we're going to play next until 2 days ago. So, like, it keeps building, man. So, any final thoughts?
Um, yeah, I think the game's immensely fun. I think we belabored that point. But I understand that it's the anti-Adam game. There's probably not a less. There's probably not a game that is more anti-Adam. The only way it could be more anti-Adam is if the main character was a woman, maybe. That would
Man,
just really.
I love women. F you, Alex.
um, no, here's the deal, Adam. I can't put this game down. I'm having a blast with it. It's got faults, it's got warts and stuff like that. I think the reason I'm gonna make the choice. The reason I'm gonna make the choice I am is because the plot, like outside of the gameplay itself, the game doesn't feel as important to me as something like Silent Hill. Like Silent Hill 2, the plot was very important to the enjoyment of that game, and I feel like you had to see it through. This game, like you know what's happening, you know what's going on, and admittedly, I'm probably gonna beat this game. I just kept playing. I kept playing. I'm on chapter 3, halfway through chapter 3. I'm loving what's going on, but the reality is, if my game got corrupted and I stopped tomorrow, I'd be fine too. So I don't feel compelled to make you go through this slog as well. So I don't think we need to keep playing the game. I'm happy to move on. But I'm going to keep playing the game, but we can move on with our podcast. You've suffered enough, Adam. I appreciate the effort you put into it.
The mercy you have shown me tonight will not be forgotten, my friend. I don't know how I will repay you, but you will be repaid. I don't know what I would have done. I really don't think I could even beat the game. So
I took that into.
I don't know what would have happened. I don't know.
I factored that into it too. I was like, if I make him play this game more, he's gonna be in chapter 2 still by the end of this, and I'm gonna.
That's probably true. So if you like difficult games or you have the skill, yeah, I really don't think it's a bad game. It's just for certain people. So if you're like Alex, so you like difficult games, if you like a good challenge, then by golly, I think you should play it, right? I mean, it's still $55. It's kind of expensive, but ultimately, I think we agree it's a good game. Just
how much money do you think they made on this game? I looked it up.
Well, if all of China played it, that's a lot of money, right? And it's $55-$60 a pop. I'm gonna say 30 million.
They made $700 million on this game.
Holy nuts! I mean, I to be honest, I don't know what games make, right? Like, how much does Mario make?
That's absurd. Mario doesn't make $700 million.
Wow.
It had a $70 million budget. They made $700 million off the game. I think only Call of Duty gets close to that.
Like freaking all the Chinese people, I guess. I don't know, man.
They loved it. They loved it. Yeah. I bet this sold PlayStations in China. I bet that's why PlayStation 5 is doing so well. This sold PlayStations in China.
Well, I don't know. Good for them. Alex, the next game, here we go. It's a co-op action-adventure game. It's designed with split-screen cooperative multiplayer. I mean, I guess I don't need to sell it to you now because you already said you're not going to play it. It is A Way Out.
Yeah.
Dang, I forgot to bring it up. This, as I started to say, is a co-op game. You and I have to play together. One person, so you have to work together. So, for example, one person has to distract the nurse and the doctor, while the other one sneaks behind and does something to open the door, unlock something, grab a weapon, whatever. It's short. It's like 6-7 hours. We might even beat it just by the next podcast. the goodness, maybe here's the mercy. I won't consider this your payback. I already bought the game. You don't need to buy it because
Yeah,
only
they
one
give you a
person needs
code.
to have it. So we're ready to lock and load. I just wanted a game where it's like co-op, and maybe we should stream it. We go
Yeah.
through the game, we have some fun. I think it could be exciting, but it would still allow us to just hang out and play a game without being so focused on, oh, it's difficult or it's a puzzle game, so we have to really focus on the task at hand. So I'm looking forward to it. I think the concept is there.
Yeah, I was interested in this game when it came out, but I hadn't met you yet. I didn't have anybody I could play the game with. Um, the next
It,
game these people
it
made,
came out 3 years ago. I hate to
oh,
tell you, buddy, you did know me.
okay. It did not come out 3 years ago. It came out a while ago. Um,
Dude,
It Takes Two came out 3 years ago.
I'm pretty sure this came out 3 years ago. Okay,
Anyways,
anyhow.
this game is timelier than you think because their next game, Split Fiction, which people are super excited about, also comes out like at the end of this month or next month. So we're
Yes.
gonna play that next after this, and I'll buy it and you can get the code. And so I think this is really timely. But yeah, I'm excited to play it. I've always wanted to play it. I've heard mixed things about it, but I'm interested in it. But
Oh my
yeah,
gosh, you're right. 2018.
yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's going to be a blast. If nothing else, just playing with each other, I think will be fun. I played some Toe Jam and Earl, and that's where I was like, man, co-op game would be fun. That's what started this. And then at the gym, I looked up. There aren't many options, honestly, that don't look weird. This is one of them that don't look. The other one was Rayman Legends. Which one do you think you would have liked better?
I've played Rayman Legends. It's not that fun co-op. It's just a It's like Mario co-op. It's not this. I
Uh,
like this better. This is more interesting.
nice.
Yeah.
Other one was Portal 2, which I do think we will play.
We got to
Just
do that. We should do another co-op session and do that because I really want to play that. I love Portal 1. But Adam, go ahead and take us out. We're running out of time.
Black Myth Wukong suck, but good thing our podcast don't. Tell your chimps, apes, and orangutans to rate, berate, and subscribe. Tune in next time for better game, better podcast. If you like thoughts on Blacksmith Wukong, you can tell
It to the judges.